Okay, so you should hear me. Um, please confirm that. I am nervous too, by the way. Okay. So hopefully everything will work. I mean, usually most of the time it did. So hopefully. Okay, nice. It's all good, Martin. Glad to see that I'm not alone. Luckily, last live stream I was tempted to show it, but I did not. I was lucky because the streaming died before it should have, and I noticed that only later when rewatching the live stream. Yeah, there is there always is about a minute of delay. Yeah, I wanted to have the comments on this thing. It should show up in VR, but it is convinced that I am not live. Maybe I will just open it again, and if it doesn't work, then I will try another time. Okay, so yeah, exactly. There won't be brake balance. Doesn't make much sense since the only brake is on the rear. Yeah, I mean it is called live, and I don't find it now. No. A second. I mean, how it is possible that... yeah, whatever. I won't be able to read the comments during the gameplay, but I will check at each step, let's say, okay? So you have an intro. I didn't write any intro. So I will just say that we are here to show the update. And these are the next steps. We have many things to show, and I will show them one at a time, and I can read the comments in the between each step, basically. Yeah, by the way, Magic, that will be different. I mean, you will see that. So we have the first step. I will use the touchpad because it's a bit more accurate. Is the body weight shifting? Yeah, also this thing. Yeah, I mean there are many details. Basically, here I've written up that see, you can add the ballast, but if you do that on a real rental, the weights are placed on the left of the driver because there is the slots for that, and for that reason the weight balance should move to the left. And yeah, about that, now the kart, the live one, the currently available one, the weight is completely centered, while in this case, in the next one, it is not. It's already a bit on the left because of the driver weight, but not too much because the engine is on the right. So what happens when you increase the ballast is that the weight will move a bit more. The center of mass will be more on the left because it's the most reasonable thing. I can demonstrate that, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, just trust me, because it does. I will show you some values that change though for this thing, for the body weight shifting. So let's close this window, and yeah, let's remove the ballast for now, also because 50 kilos is like a lot. Hopefully everything is set up correctly. Let's check a second. This FPS. Sorry. No, because I wasn't in VR in that moment. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, let's see. Should just work, hopefully. Okay, so we are in Steam VR. Okay, I can hear the engine, and here we are. Okay, so the looks is just as usual. I don't know if the exposure is too high also there. No, luckily. VR. Okay, so you should see correctly. I will check a second because I touched a bit too many things. Okay, I think it is all right. Yeah, okay, should be everything perfect. So let's go back to the VR, back to the game. Yes, okay. So now I don't see the steps. I said I would show the bodyweight shifting, but I could also show the setup stuff. Yeah, okay, so we are inside the game. This is the new widget that I have done. Finally, I can have a rear view mirror inside VR. You can move it around, scale it around. Pretty cool. Okay, so here on my left, you see this widget. You should see it. These are the loads, the vertical loads on every wheel, and basically they should move as soon as I move my head. Oh yeah, that's you know why it's not happening? Because I wanted to compare the old physics with the new one. So what you're seeing right now is the old version. So yeah, it doesn't make much sense because I ordered the things differently. So for a second, let's just go back to the desktop. Let's close the game, if it does. Yeah, I mean, I will just remove SteamVR because I will switch this thing because I'm not using the comments. So okay, so yeah, okay, there are some random comments. So let's switch the version. I will do that again later for showing some differences, but for now it doesn't make much sense because we already know the current version. Let's yeah, it should have done that. Okay, perfect. So let's get back in game, because if you notice the values that I said that they should have changed, they didn't. Now they will, because it was the old version. So okay, so yeah, wrong positioning. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now it's the new version, and you can notice that because it kind of jerks around when you're stopped. That's some extent the physics weird stuff. So it's better that we move because otherwise the values are not very easy to read. And okay, let's go. This is the 390 engine. The gear length is much, so that's why it's taking a while to start up. Even a bit too much. Maybe, yeah. I think I know what is happening. I just changed the thing, but it's not working very well. Okay, so my point now was that if I move around, let's find a place. Let's go back to the main straight. Okay, let's do it here. So basically, when I move on the right, you should see that LD1 gets a lot bigger, and when I go to the left, the opposite should happen. I can tune all of this stuff now. I don't see a lot of difference, but it should not be exaggerated, of course, because you're only moving your upper body, not your whole body. So I think it doesn't change too much of the values. I mean, it's different. It's difficult to say without taking some measures, but that's it should change. Maybe I don't know. Maybe 30 not newtons, 30 kilos side to side when you move around. Okay, so I will watch a second the steps because now I cannot see them. A second. Yeah, I think I messed up the program. Yeah, today I'm discovering how to fuck up a program. Okay, so I'm back. So I would say was saying that I would show the bodyweight shifting, but there isn't much to see. Another thing that you don't see is that the body is not fixed in a place. If there is when there are G-forces, they move the weight a bit around. It's not too much of a you don't see that, sadly, but it does happen. The keyboard, the software one. So it is more realistic in the physics because you have more variables that change how the kart is feeling and how it is also handling. Because the ragdoll is on all the three axes. It is vertical, longitudinal, and lateral. So when you hit, I don't know, a curb or something, the kart will also bounce around because of that. It's not only because the kart is very stiff. Actually, the body also serves as a damper, so it's a bit of the opposite, but they work together, let's say. The current version is just everything in one body that is completely tied together, while now it will have a bit more nuanced behaviors, let's say. So I already mentioned the ballast that moves the weight on the left, and we have new setup stuff. I don't know if you have noticed, but the kart was very slow now, and that was because I changed a thing in the script way too late, I guess. I think because I remember it being more powerful. Maybe I will switch back to the 270 because I didn't try the 390 a lot since I made these edits. So I made changes on the clutch, on the throttle response, on the thing that I will show now. Let's go to the setup, so you will see a bit more things that I'm talking about. Okay, so the gear is the same, the tires are the same currently, the fuel, there is a new field here. Do you see that? Fuel richness, that's a thing that I added literally an hour ago. I didn't test it very much, but it looked good enough, so I said, okay, seems to be working, let's go. And also we have these two things that, because sometimes there are tracks that, I mean, do you see how they are done, these things, right? The steering rods. There is a, how do you call that? A screw line, I don't know how to call them. So they can be screwed or unscrewed depending on the setup you want to have. So you can do the same thing here. Look the wheel while I change the values. And they can do that. It can be done asymmetrically. I mean, it's not useful to be asymmetric, but since it's possible, I mean, why not? So, okay. Okay, so what can you do with this? You could have, I don't know, more or less convergence of the tires. I mean, toe in, you know. So you can change that here. Now the wheels are more facing outwards because I changed the rods to be shorter. Okay. So it should be a bit different. I don't really know what should change because I didn't... Whoa. Yeah, okay, these values don't work very well. Yeah, as I was saying, it's still not live. There is a reason for that because there are still things to be tried. I mean, it is working. Yeah, it's working, but it's moving a bit on the sides. I mean, it also makes sense, but it's a bit weird. Well, I mean, it's a value that you probably won't set on in real life. Point is that it will also change how much the wheel can turn because there is more toe in outwards. And as you may have noticed, the caster does have an effect now. Now it does have even too much. I want to change the engine though, because this one is not working very well right now, and that could be because I changed some things in the clutch and I didn't test that in the 390 engine. So I mentioned many things here. Oh, I forgot to mention some things. We have very many things to remember. I don't know how to look at them. Yeah, I will just mention them now. When I was stopped, I don't know if you have noticed, there was always a little bit of braking, and that's because extended physics doesn't stop the kart very well. That's also important. Barry, VR doesn't necessarily have an advantage because you can set this thing also without the VR. So you can go in VR, inside in controls. And then there is patch, I think, if I remember correctly. Let's find it, where the hell it is. Here. I did assign this, but it doesn't work now because I am on VR. So I don't know if you see it. These two values, they are the gear shifters. When you are in VR, they are ignored. If you are using a controller or, I mean, a monitor, then they will be used. So when you have the buttons, you can click them, and as long as you hold them down, the driver will be on the right or on the left or on the center if you don't press them. So you don't have the the possibility of saying, okay, I'll move a bit here, a bit more here. You only can do that or not do that. I don't know if you can assign an analog stick to this, but I mean, in a steering wheel, you don't have, I think, an analog stick that you can use. So yeah, if you rely much on body weight shifting and you're good at taking advantage on that, maybe it could give an advantage on VR. But honestly, in real life, I don't use body weight shifting because I don't really understand when it is beneficial. It will be interesting to see what you will do with that. Yeah, I think these parameters are here since 0.2.x. Any 0.2 version has these two buttons because it was introduced in 0.2.0, I think. Okay, so automatic braking on stop. Okay, I already said that. It is always on first gear. I forgot to show you a very cool thing about that. By the way, I changed the engine. Okay. You cannot use the throttle while braking, which is a thing that most Sodi karts have. I think I could do it as an option in the setup. As you have seen, you can change the fuel mixture, which is, I mean, a thing that a track maintainer could decide to do or not. I mean, yeah, you will always tune it a bit, so it depends on track. You can have richer or linear fuel mixtures depending on the track where you go. So that's I think that has to be. I mean, it makes sense to be in the setup. So in this context, it could also make sense to have this one as an option because it is an optional for Sodi karts actually. This one, no throttle under braking. Oops, I did a mess. Yeah, okay. It is an optional if you watch on their website. I don't know how to zoom in here. Let's do that in the bad way. Okay, so this is the thing I wanted to show you. Automatic braking on stop, I already mentioned that. This is pretty interesting to see. Oh, there is a new automatic clutch. So you will need to keep the automatic clutch disabled. I know that it is a bit weird, but that's because otherwise the script wouldn't be able to apply the clutch improvements. And online that would not be an issue because online we can prevent people to use automatic clutch, so we can disable it. Actually, it is already disabled, but since the kart now it is configured to always have auto clutch, now you always have auto clutch. But the new version, I disabled that thing, and so online on our servers at least, you will not have the automatic clutch, which will be done by the script that I made. So that it is a bit better. It's not a huge difference, but if you watch the values in the clutch, it no, I don't see differences. What is happening? Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's see a different scenario. A second. maybe it's not very visible now because everything is. I can tune everything, of course. Yeah, as you can see, it sticks a bit more when it is fully engaged, and it has a bit of viscosity. You don't see that, but basically it takes more time to actually apply the new value on the clutch, which means that on full stops you could notice that the clutch isn't fully disengaged, which I notice sometimes in real life. But honestly, I'm not noticing these behaviors. Well, by the way, it is there, now it's not working. I mean, I introduced many of these things very recently. So, let's stop completely. Okay, as you can see, the brake is automatically engaged. I'm not touching the brake. And that's because otherwise it was enough to have even at the slightest pitch of the road and you would go downhill basically. And as soon as you touch the throttle, it will lift that brake, so it's not a problem for doing starts. I cannot shift down, so how the hell do you put reverse? You hold down the gear shift. See what has happened here? Keep holding for 2 seconds and it will start to push you. And that's because if you do that just after you left the button, you can resume basically, and it was meant to emulate a person, maybe yourself, that is pushing the cart. Let's take it away. So basically, you have to hold it down. If you lift a second, I'm not pushing anymore, and then you push again, it will resume right away. You can also be pushed forwards, because maybe it is useful if you get stalled inside, outside the track, maybe in a how do you say that? Basically in a hole where the cart doesn't touch the surface. So the cart will be stuck there. Instead of going back to pits with the options here in the pits, instead of doing this, you can save yourself by holding down, in this case, the upshift button, and it is the same identical mechanism. So this is pretty cool, so had to be shown. It does that up to 2 kilometers per hour, because it's not... I always try to think about potential ways to use these things to cheat online. So the maximum speed is 2 kilometers per hour, and it won't push you if you are going above that. And yeah, now that I am here, I can show you that if I even touch the brake a bit, you don't see it. You don't see it in the in the graph here. You don't see that here. But if you listen the engine, I will shut up for a second. I just touch the brake a little, and the throttle gets completely cut, which is what happens when you have this optional on these cards. Yeah, I'm not sure that the power is correct. Yeah. I think it is correct. The acceleration on the 270 seems fine. I didn't show you what happens with the fuel mixture, so we'll do that now because it is interesting. Let's put it to 0, which, I mean, they are just parameters. It's not like, I mean, 0 fuel. It doesn't mean that. I have to review a bit the formula because it is it's very approximate. Let's check if everything is alright, by the way, because I don't know, sometimes I had network issues. So you are live, we were live. Yes, I think we do. It says, seems all correct here. Okay. Let's go back to VR. So fuel richness now is at 0. So what you have to expect with this? The fuel is linear. For this reason, what happens is that you will have less power on the low RPMs, but you will have more power when the RPMs are high. So this happens. This means that at higher speeds, you will have more power. See, 70 per hour now. It was very easy because it has more torque near the RPM range. Near the end of the RPM range. So it has more power on the at high speeds, and of course all of this will have to be tuned because it was just I implemented it very quickly. The opposite applies if you put it at maximum. So you have more torque from the engine at low RPMs than you do at high speeds, higher RPMs. So you have more acceleration. Sorry. Yeah, it's not very obvious. That's why I've shown the minimum value first, because that one is more obvious. But as you can see, it struggles when you get at high RPM. It is more difficult to go to the end of the RPM range, and that's a feature that was suggested by a person that you might know, since he is Dutch. I forgot the name because I'm dumb. This is a feature that was suggested by Bram Osseward, which you probably already know. I for sure have mispronounced him like very hard. But when I mentioned him that I was working on this update, he suggested me, can we change the fuel mixture? And then I thought, I didn't think about that. That's interesting. And so it's what I've done. There is a thing that you don't see now, and that I forgot to write in the sections. There are force feedback improvements that are part of CSP, and there is a force feedback improvement that I made because it was cool, in my opinion. The one that it is inside CSP is the one that it is gyroscopic stabilization. So, sorry, I forgot if I... Well, doesn't matter. If I change the mixture of the fuel, that doesn't matter. Basically, at high speeds, if I keep the wheel straight and leave my hands, which I'm doing now, the stereo will tend to stay stable, see? It has some stabilization that depends on how fast the wheels are turning. So that's a feature in custom share dispatch. I didn't make it. It's part of extended physics, and you will have it as soon as you enable extended physics. Oh, speaking of that, the kart now uses it, but you don't need to enable the check mark manually because the kart tells to CSP that it is using extended physics, and so this considered as a requirement, and it will be forcefully enabled basically. So yeah, that's a feature of CSP, and the one that I implemented myself instead is the wheel vibration depending on the RPM of the engine. Now you don't see it, and when you are stopped, the force feedback is very weak, and I decided to do that by script because it is not very stable, as you can see. Vibrates a bit oddly, and also the sound tells you that if you notice. There is a strange tire noise, because the kart actually is vibrating very fast on the rear for some reason. As soon as you start getting some speed, it is normal, no weird noises anymore, and the force feedback is gradually increased, because otherwise it will be very noisy on some wheels and boring. Not boring, annoying. And about instead the engine vibration, I don't know if you can see it. I think you can. I'm not holding the wheel tight now, so it is yeah, this vibration is you can feel it in your hands. It's not very visible otherwise. You can see it in the force feedback graph, which is the gray one. And basically the strength and the frequency of the vibration will depend on the engine speed, so on the RPM. I tuned it in a way that should not be an issue on wheels, on cheap wheels, because I am on a direct drive, so here I could also tune it a lot higher, and it doesn't do noises and stuff. But on the G27 where I come from, maybe it could. So for that reason I decided to keep it not too strong, and not to make it tunable. I decided not to make it tunable, at least for now. We will have to see, because in general I prefer to make the experience the same to everybody, let's say. So if I do that in the setup. In that way, if we want to lock the setup also for that, we can do that, because it does add a lot. It adds a lot to the immersion. It feels more real. It's not as strong as the real vibration, but it is a detail that improves the experience. You feel the engine somehow, and it does feel nice. It's cool. And so that's a parenthesis that I didn't think to mention, but I mean I forgot to mention, but in the end I remembered. So let's go back to the Google Drive sheet, and let's see what I don't know if you have noticed, but the full stops are much better. See how it stopped? It didn't slide for 10 meters like the current version. So let's go back to this desktop and let's see what I've taken note of. Is there a threshold for the no throttle under braking? Otherwise low end up. Yeah, that's Yuval, you're right, but there is a thing that you can do in the setup. I mean, you're right about that, but I think it is better to notice the issue, because you can just change the pedals tuning inside Assetto Corsa setup, in the content manager actually. Now the game is open, but so I cannot show you. I will open the game back. I want to show you now. You can, in that case, let's say that I have that issue. Let's say that. I will go to the controls axis, so the first tab, and I go under brakes. Now it's from 0 to 100 because I can tune it as I want on my pedal, so that's not an issue. Now I will fake it the issue, so I will just apply some pressure. Let's say that this is the potentiometer issue that you're mentioning. You have to do this. You increase the minimum above the range where it is giving that issue. And I think it is better in this way, because if you had that issue, you can fix it. And it is better that you do, because it will make you slower on every car. So it's better that you notice. Okay, let's go back to the Google Drive file. Here it is. So you have seen these things, at least the ones that I could show. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the throttle has a delay in the response. I will make you notice when we get back on the track. Better full stops, you have seen that, and I can show you better, maybe on a different track, maybe. Better full lock steering. So let's change the track, because to show you the steering, I will show you Daytona, because it is a track where I noticed a lot this issue. That it is on the currently live version. There are some people that use the steering. I want to show you the wheel when I'm saying that. Let's open the wheel software. Yes. Otherwise, I could just open the game. It's not much faster. Okay, we are here. I think it does show if... Yeah, maybe I forgot how to do this. Okay, so you see my wheel. There are some people that to throw the kart inside the corner, they rather than using the brakes, depending on track, it does make sense. It does depend a lot on track. They will use the wheel. You can do basically, you can throw the kart inside the corner, and when you have some rotation, you go back to neutral steering. And that's a thing that didn't work well at all, because the caster wasn't actually working. It was... Assetto Corsa has some issues that you must test for understanding that they are there. Otherwise, you say, okay, I've done this right, I've done this right, and you would say it's working fine. Then you do some tests and you realize that there is something wrong. In Assetto Corsa, there was also in CSP, but it was fixed. There was an issue with the anti-roll bars, and that was an issue because I needed the roll bars for making the kart stiff, mostly on vanilla Assetto Corsa, because there you don't have cosmic suspensions, so you cannot define braces where you want. You have to use what it is there. And if I didn't have the roll bar working, then the kart would be a boat because it had to have some stiffness between the tires, let's say, between the right and the left tire. That's what an anti-roll bar does. So you need those in a game that doesn't give you a way of creating additional braces by yourself. So that was an issue. If you increase the anti-roll bar, then the caster would not work. Very weird, but yeah. So basically, I didn't have a solution. I tried to find a compromise that worked, and luckily, using cosmic suspensions, I've found a solution for that. Because I mean, you can do that now. Actually, in 0.2.3, it is fixed. So that's a good fix that I have done. Racing, I don't know when Valencia will be out. I don't know, because it is Victor doing that in theory this time. Okay, there is okay, Yuval, I will remember that. Let me take a note of that, because I thought there wasn't. I'm not sure that there actually is, to be honest, because I don't know. I think it can depend on the kart. So maybe either I make it tunable too, or just I can give a 2% threshold. Now there is 0, which is a bit extreme. Maybe using 1%, 2% could be pretty good. So I'll take note of that. Some karts have a threshold on brake before cutting throttle. Okay. Yeah. I will do that, Barry. I will. I will also do that against the AI if it doesn't explode. Okay. Yes, Matteo, this clarifies that. So I think I should have a parameter for that because sometimes you know, there are always two aspects for these things, because one is you want to have a consistent kart, because I will do maybe lap times on YouTube and I will say I'm the best, and maybe I increase the fuel mixture a lot. I don't know, maybe they can be ways of believing you're better than you are. But at the same time, since we have online servers for ensuring we can lock the setups. So for that reason, I think it's not an issue to actually give more customizability, since now we can have it. In some places, I can even use the traction control. There is an option for traction control. Why? You only have 8 horsepower. Maybe for the 390, but also there it is not. I don't think it is much needed. That's interesting. Okay, so that's interesting. I didn't think they could have traction control. I will have to take a look on the Sodi website again. Okay, so what we were saying, I lost a bit track. That's why I have a file, but with comments, of course, it can vary a bit. Yeah, I replied about Valencia. Yeah, I wanted to show you some laps. We will do that later, maybe. Throttle response, I will mention when you see it again. Showed improved, better on FFB. Yeah, I told you, and the feeling is different because of the ragdoll effect. Not only because of that, of course. It is because of cosmic suspensions that have more components that we had before, and because we have more masses in general that can move around. So it is improved for more than one reason, of course. But yeah, also the driver moving around does give a bit more nuanced effects. Yeah, okay, this I mentioned and I told you right now. Compare it again with a 0.91, but I don't know. This is a difference which is huge. When you go back to the old version, it is a crazy difference. But to show that on camera, it's not easy because it is mostly on the force feedback. What can I do? I wanted to show you a race against AI. I'm not sure that the 390 is working correctly, so I will use the 270. Let's go on a good track. Daytona is a good AI. I think it is decent. There is an issue with AI. I don't know if we will see that. We can place. Let's not put too many opponents, because otherwise the issue is more likely to happen. Let's put, I don't know, 3 laps. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I can always leave earlier. Let's go. Oh, so you also see how the new things are working in the starts, because it is a bit different what happens on the start. You cannot change the gear with scripting on the start, but because it is because the I will use the hard tires. They will probably be faster than me, I warn you. Because I helped them a bit on this version. I could increase their grip on this version. I could increase their power on this version, and I did that. I wanted to show you the hard tires because it is more clear the difference of what happens when I steer full lock, so steering like a lot with a lot of angle. So yeah. As you can see, now I don't have penalties. So for that reason, what has happened is that I was on neutral, But as soon as the lights were off, basically it has switched the gear automatically, and I disabled automatic gear shifts, so it is always there, and I cannot change the gears as you have seen before. Without penalties, with penalties, they are doing a lot of stupid stuff. By the way, it's not the issue that I was talking about. That one. With the penalties, I will show you what happens. No, let's do drive-through. Let's go. Basically, yeah, I will have to show you what happens, which is this. You will see that. And this is what happens in online. In theory, it is what happens in online races, because we have penalties on the start if you jump start it. So if I start now, it does start. I don't have to use the gear shift. That's the difference. So it's not like we do now. So you cannot do the full throttle on neutral and then engage the first gear. Let's restart the race, because they start better when you restart it. This is always the case, also on the current version. So what happens now is that I have to not touch the throttle. I can always... No, yeah, I can put the first, and then on lights out, I will apply the throttle. So it is more realistic, because you are not doing what you do on I don't know, another category where you have gearing and you use that for the start. Here we use the throttle, and now you will have to do that on this too. So it is more real, of course. So I will anticipate the issue, maybe. No, I want to make you a surprise, because it is quite funny, but sadly it is not fixable before 0.2.4 version of CSP, because they know of the issue. See now what happens when I steer full lock? It has oversteered, and I'm on hard tires. And it's not like I made the tires less oversteering, more oversteering in general. These are kind of the same tires. They still are understeering. The difference is on the steering. It does work as it should now, and for that reason, you can do this, which is done on this track in real life. I've seen people that do that, and here they do that. I selected the wrong layout, because this is not the one that we fixed in ACK, but it doesn't really matter now. So as you can see, you can throw the kart in the corner without using the brake, which is a thing that we did all the time here, because otherwise the kart would just understeer, and even if we used the medium tires, which are more oversteer than the hard tires, and for the soft it is even more the case. For the rest, the feeling is similar. That's why it took time. It took time to make the same, but only better, because I feel a lot of more things on the wheel now. I feel the kart bending. Those are things that you don't feel. And when I go back to the old version, what I say is this version feels so much like if it only had a spring that brings the steering on the center. I don't know why they're so slow here, by the way. This wasn't maybe not a good track, for example, for showing you the AI, I mean. So this is the main difference. When you hit curbs, when the kart start bouncing around, you will your wheel, the steering wheel, will be deviated by that, and you feel that, and it does get in the way of driving cleanly. See, it is much. It's not stronger. It is just more of a distraction, we could also say, but it is much more real, because it also tells you much more of what the kart is doing. I will try to use some bodyweight shifting now. Let's start to take this one with the weight on the outside. I didn't notice huge differences. It is also my choice to not make it a huge difference, but it helps rotation. That's what should happen. It should bounce a bit less. It should rotate a bit more, so it is often desired. But in this track, on these tires, this is not enough. As you can see, you have to steer more if you want to do what I said before. And yeah, you can also use the as it is now. You can also use the how do you say that, the weight transfer that naturally of course occurs when you lose speed or when you brake. So I mean, those things are the same, but it is more grounded. You feel more connection with the road because of the feeling, and because it is actually better at keeping the grip on the front tires because of the geometry. Only because of that. This is only because of that, to be honest. Because yeah, I did some changes to the tires. The tires are emulated better now. I want to show you one thing. Let's see if I can, while in VR, I think I can do that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see my real world around me, so it's not always easy to find the peripherals that I use for my computer. Okay, so what I want to open is called I don't remember, car debug, I think. Built-in apps, no. Your apps, collapse this. Developer apps, yeah, it is this one. No, it's not this one. It looks. I always remember the wrong one. It's not car debug. It is car physics, maybe. Where it is? Ah, no. This is the one from Assetto Corsa. CSP debug. Yeah, I think. Okay. Physics. Tires. Oh, I don't see them. Strange. It should have shown the tires. A second. Oh, I didn't do already the rain stuff. We can try the rain. I'm not sure that I have the latest CSP paid version, because you need the paid one for this. Yeah, for some reason it is not showing this. It's weird. It should have shown the raycasting on tires. Basically, the difference is that the tires now have more than one contact point, and that should help on the curbs in general. So it does make a bit of a difference. But if you are driving on a track that has very bad curbs, it won't make them much better. They are a bit better, but it has to be said that the kart now it has many more variables. So those kind of curbs, I noticed that they tend to unsettle the kart a lot, maybe even more than the live version. I lost against the so from one side, I think it is braking less the kart, but on the other side, the kart will vibrate like crazy, and so it is still bad idea to go over them. No, we cannot do human DRS because I'm not sure what impact it should have. That's the main reason. I could do that in VR. That is easy. There are some instructions on the Lua scripting that can track where your head is compared to the zero. So I could compare to the zero and move forwards. When I move forwards, it should become a parameter that controls how much drag resistance to decrease. That's what I can do in theory, but I cannot animate the driver. I mean, I don't know how, honestly, because there are some instructions in Lua that maybe I don't know for now. Because I would like a lot to show the ragdoll effect on the driver, and for now I cannot do that. Mom's here, 21. Okay, nice username. I'm happy that I'm doing this. So it wasn't easy before the first release for many times, because it is difficult to work on something for 1 year without seeing a euro. So oftentimes you wonder if you are doing a smart choice or if you are doing a very bad one. So yeah, that was a bit different than now. Let's say it was more worrying for sure, more stressful, more anxiety bringing. I don't know how to say that. Now it is better because I'm happy, because I see that people are interested in this, and so it is better for me now. So thank you for the appreciation, and I'm happy to of this. So no, Yuval, the current version doesn't use extended physics at all. If you try to enable it, you will only get a very bad card. It will change some things very badly, and that's why I had basically to redo some things completely. I mean, of course, because cosmic suspensions are a completely different beast of the previous one. It is just a different way of doing them, and it is a way more powerful way of doing that. So you can do a lot of more stuff. It is very cool, but it means that you need the time for converting that. I was almost thinking about doing this before the first release, but I mean, I just told you it was very difficult for me to keep on working on this, because you start to wonder. I mean, it only becomes very tiring at one point if you are not if you don't see even if people are interested in what you're doing. So at one point I said, okay, this is good, a good version, and it was about maybe October. Sorry, a bit later, maybe in September I started the first beta of the vanilla version. I recruited, let's say, some drivers, some good drivers that I found on Instagram and not in real life. They helped me to define, to fix actually some things of the kart, which were mostly on the outdoors, where I don't have much experience. And in January I was able to release that version. In mind, I always had to bring this stuff, and I would do that at one point. And at what point I will also bring the two strokes, as Yuval is saying now. So no human DRS for now, Yako. For now, because I would like to be able to measure that, and I would need a track where you get very high speed. Maybe I should go to Valencia in real life. There is my brother that lives in Valencia, so it is a track where you go kind of fast. So yeah, maybe with a sensor on my body and check the speeds, comparing human DRS and not. I prefer to do this kind of things with some data, because otherwise, how do you do that in a realistic way? I mean, even the slipstream, you have seen that it is very easy to do those things wrong. Aerodynamics is difficult to nail, because the law of aerodynamic resistance, it is exponential. Sorry, it's not exponential. It is polynomial. It is cubic, basically, depending on speed. So if you, even a tiny difference on the resistance can do much different on the final speed. So let's see if I missed some comments. Okay. So Matteo, it is more of a launch control feeling, like they do in expensive cars, basically. Yeah, more of a launch control, because if it does control the throttle and the clutch of something, it revs up a bit. That's launch control. Okay, let's see if I forgot some things to show. The important ones were covered, I think. Oh yeah, I wanted to make you a question. Let's see if you reply. I will read them later. The GX200 engine. So you have seen that I can change the fuel mixture on the setup. That's because what I can do is to pass from the setup variables to the script. And since the throttle response, it is programmed now in my script. Basically, a lot of stuff now, it is happening in my script and not anymore in the data ini files. Basically, if you know a bit about modding, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, the throttle is applied now in Lua, not anymore in the traditional way of doing the power. For that reason, I can change programmatically the power curves. So it is not technically needed anymore to have a version for each engine anymore. In theory, I could make any power curve I want and embed it inside the setup and make it applicable using the setup. I could make everything, even a Formula DS. Formula DS version. I thought about that. I'm not kidding. So what I can do is that, but for the GX200s. So what I could do is that for the indoor version, you could have an option in the setup and select between the engines, between the 270 or the 200. But there is some but in this, because this means that you in replay files you don't have a way of understanding what engine you are using, unless I do maybe some text that appears even in replays. That could be a way to work around this. I'm not sure that you can change the engine sound with Lua. For that reason, the thing I was saying doesn't apply, because it doesn't apply for the sound, meaning that the 390 engine sound can only be in the kart copy that has the 390 engine. No, I'm not sure about that. I didn't check. I can do that now. Yeah, I can do that now. Let's just, I don't know, let's search sound. Yeah, sound. Let's do with this one. No, we only have get sound speed in meters per second. I don't know why. Let's see if it is bank, which are the files. No. Yeah, so I think, for that reason, maybe for the if the 200 has the kind of the same sound, we can do that with the setup. Otherwise, maybe I will just do another copy of the kart, and that's a bit annoying because it will increase the RAR file dimensions, so it's a bit more load on my server, this stuff. But it should not be a problem, because the network interface of my server is quite capable, and for now I had nowhere near network limitations, so we should be good for that. So I guess I replied myself. I will just do another version. For the two-stroke cards, by the way, I'm taking a look. Meaning I will do them. It will take a bit of time. Okay. By the way, I said I would compare again with the 0.91, which is the currently live version. I've temporarily called this one 0.95, but it could also be version 1, because there is so many differences. I mean, this is crazy. So I want to show you two things, actually. So let's hope that the 390 does work fine. Let's try again the 390, because I want to go on Campillos now, and there I want to go very fast, because I want to show you an important difference that I forgot to mention, because it is my kart, the currently live version, aside from all the improvements that are, let's say, optional, that I've done now, which improve immersion, has currently some flaws. The two main ones, these two flaws, actually. Let's do race. Yeah, okay, let's do race, and doesn't matter. Maybe I can help the engine with the fuel mixture. I will keep the medium tires, because I'm proving a point. So okay, I was saying, this kart, sorry, not this one, the one that is live now, so this is extended phase, can change that now, has two main flaws. One are full stops, and as you have seen already, I don't know what they are waiting for, it is improved. So let's do a full stop now. I was 35 kilometers per hour, medium tires, and it was pretty easy to stop completely without locking up. Also, it does depend less on the road pitch. By example, did you race in Tucuru with us? It is a very nice fantasy kart track. It is very good, very nice to drive on, and it was super difficult, too much difficult on the current version, because it was very sensitive to the weight transfer, too much. I think that was the reason. By the way, it is fixed. So on the first and there on the left, sorry, there was a, not the first one. There is a slalom, then there is a bit of a uphill, then you go downhill, and there is a left-hander. In that corner, it was super easy to lock up. Now it's not anymore. I could show you that after this. So there were issues under braking, in short, and one was the full braking, which is better even if you lock up intentionally, which I did now. I didn't change the max pressure, but as you have seen, it is better. I don't know why it is going very slow, the 390. I think there is some bug in maybe in some parts of the script that I've made. Maybe it is sticking to the power curve of the 270. I think. Now I don't want to open the code here, so I cannot take a look right now. So it is a bit slow for 390, but okay. The second issue, which was two issues, so the second one of those is on high speeds. What happens on the rear tires at high speeds? If we can get to high speeds, because it is going slow. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, basically the point is, it's not like you lose the rear end at high speeds as soon. It was super easy, you know. Here it was always in neutral steering, which is not. It is not what happens on these ones. Maybe it could happen on owner karts, but not on these ones. They are not powerful enough. So that was an issue that was fixed. Was fixed. Let's say almost automatically, but I also improved the tires a bit for that. And so basically, at high speeds, the kart, it's not like it will drift by itself. That's the point I'm making. You always have control with your wheel. I think it was an issue with the load transfer, because at higher speeds you have more load transfer, of course. And at one point the rear tires would just collapse, let's say, and they didn't have the same grip anymore, basically. So the grip loss is what I fixed. So let's try again. I will try to get a better exit here. It's so slow. I think it is at 270 now with way too long gear, so that's why it is struggling. Yeah, I mean 70 per hour. So let's try to do a sudden change. See what happens? It does rotate a bit, but it's not like it will drift irrecoverably. You can always take back control, because you do have control, like you did already at 50 kilometers per hour. Now you do up to 80, or also, yeah, maybe at 90 it could start to struggle a bit again, but it makes more sense. So it is, it's good. You won't steer a lot at high speeds in any case. It is not a thing that in real life you will do, because at that speed you will be very careful on your steering, because you really don't want to fuck up stuff when you're going over 80 kilometers per hour or something. So it's not a test that I could do maybe in real life. I don't chuff the guts. Point is that you don't feel like the rear is leading, how do you say that? It is skidding. It's not skidding. You always have control. Of course, you can do wrong stuff. That's not the point. The point is that before it was way too easy to lose the rear at high speeds. It was maybe the biggest anomaly of my kart so far. Also the full steering thing that didn't work. See how it bounced. I mean, it does feel very real. And the full brakes. Those were the three issues of my kart, and now they are fixed. I will have to remember about the engine issue, because it is so slow. About the throttle. It is difficult to prove you, but there is about 1/10 of a second of delay. I didn't want to exaggerate that. it's not easy to tell because the sound will increase in volume as if the power would be already there. It's a bit strange. The sound doesn't change for that, but the acceleration does. It takes a bit of a time to start. Maybe with G-forces you can see that. So that's why I'm looking there. Where is my mouse? Okay, here it is. Let's put it here. We have 0. No, I'm stopped completely. It's not a good example. Let's go middle speed and then I will apply the throttle again. See? Now it was very visible because you see the throttle on the green bar. On the green bar the delay is not applied, but you see that in the G-forces. See? It takes a bit of time. Oh, and you can also see the clutch. Look what the clutch is doing, the light blue bar. No, at this speed it doesn't. Yeah, basically it depends on what you're doing. Let's go... Now it should. No, it didn't anymore. I noticed that basically there was a bit of a correction of the throttle. That's because it has some viscosity. So it takes some time to change the pressure. That was the idea behind this thing, and it feels more realistic. It should be more realistic, at least in theory. It's not a huge difference, because if you do huge differences it will be unrealistic for sure, because if you're in real life you have to observe the difference, then it has to be a little thing, let's say. So you don't see a huge difference in the clutch. In the response times of the throttle though, you see that. You see that it increases with a 1/10 of a second delay. I think it is actually 150 milliseconds, but I mean that's it. You also see the G-force of the engine, because the vibration I made is not only on the wheel. I didn't say that. There is the engine that vibrates and physically moves. Causes a force that changes in direction depending on RPM, how much it changes. Because of course at 3600 RPMs it will be double the speed, the engine at 1800. So for that reason the frequency changes in the change of direction of that force, and that already had a little effect on the wheel. But for increasing it on the wheel without create bugs, because you can always create bugs exaggerating these things, then I also added a bit of power, a bit of vibration on the wheel, and that was quite easy to do because the script already has some functions for tuning the force feedback, because I told you of the gyroscopic effect. But since CSP people are working mostly on real life cars, not real life, I mean normal cars, so GT cars, Formula cars, they are not very much interested, I think, in speeds that are below 35 km per hour. So I did notice that the first feedback was a bit weird below the 35 threshold. The first feedback was did change between when you were below 35 and above. For that reason I made a curve that multiplies the force feedback depending on speed, and for that reason I improved. I solved those issues, and I also let's say a bit neutralized the gyroscopic difference between speeds, because it was maybe super strong at 70 kilometers per hour, but then at 20, 25, 30 it was way too weak, and it was a problem in indoor tracks. So I didn't show an indoor yet. Maybe I will open KZR now. What I feel like I'm forgetting something. Yeah, I wanted to show you first Tucuru, the difference between before and now, because I think it could be very visible. Let's read the comments first though. I want to see Laval Karting. I'm moving there in September. It's like a 2.0 of the kart. Oh yeah, you are kinda right. It is almost 2.0. True. But I never reached 1.0, so yeah, maybe you are right though. Maybe it should be a 2.0 version. Because it is, yeah, I basically remade the whole suspensions, I remade a lot of the tires, because I told you, it has more contact points. And it is not the only difference that TSP is bringing, which are all improvements. But I did tune the tires for the Assetto Corsa model, and now it is a different model. So I did have to tune some things for the new version to make more sense, because it was very different. It was terrible when I just changed to extended physics. It was a shitty kart. Didn't bounce anymore. It didn't feel right. It wasn't. It was just worse. If you enable extended physics with this checkmark here, with the 0.91 version, which is the current one, you will see that it is just a shitty kart, and that's also a reason why it is good to moving here to this, because extended physics gives us many cool things, including rain. I really want to drive on rain. I didn't try that. I think I have to purchase again CSP. Yeah, maybe I can do that later. So I opened Tucuru. It is on the 390. I will use the 270 because I'm not sure what the 390 is doing. So I want to show you first the 0.91. Okay, so I switched back to the version you have. So what we have to... No, never mind. I want to first... No, it's fine. I will drive the old one. Okay, now let's drive the old one. I will drink some water too, because... Also the fact that the AI was very slow, I think it has to do with the fact that the power curves are not being updated. I told you that I did give more power to the AI. And that's because I had to make them heavier, because otherwise they wouldn't be stable. So to compensate that, I gave them more power, and now it's not working. I think that could be an issue. That could be the reason why they are being so slow, because they are heavier with the same power. I'm not having I have a bit of lags, you know. Strange. Oh yeah, this is the old version. It already feels wrong. See what happens when you steer much here? I mean, you know that it doesn't do what the other does. So let's go. I don't know why it is lagging now. It's not fault of the update, because it's still the old version. Here it was a bit difficult to keep the kart straight. It was a bit of a challenge to work against the kart drifting around. That's the first difference we could notice later. Here it was very easy to break it too much. Now I didn't do that because I'm too good. Let's try again. I will lock up a bit on purpose, because I'm too good on this card. Okay, let's go. No, because it was difficult actually, because now I'm not searching for the limit, because I don't know where the limit is, so I was a bit conservative. But when you are trying to do a good lap here, it was difficult to really nail the right percentage of the brakes, because as soon as you overshot it a bit, oh, see, no gyroscopic effect. As soon as I left the wheel, I was killing myself. This doesn't happen anymore. Not with the disease. It is difficult, more difficult on the new version. It can happen still, but it's much more difficult. So let's try to overbrake a bit. This is yeah, this was brutal. I didn't expect it to happen so strongly. So basically, it does take some time, but then it is difficult to keep the right throttle, the right pressure on the brake. So let's keep doing some laps. I want to also to heat up the tires, because they are still cold. So it is also part of the reason why it is easier to lock up so much. So let's try to warm them up. But But I repeat, I mean, I swear it is not about the tire stamps, because from 50 degrees to 60, the difference is about, I don't know, 2%, no, maybe 5% of grip. That it is not, it is a difference that you can feel, but it is not a huge one. Oh, I'm trying to pump the tires. That's why I seem drunk. Yeah, by the way, it also feels more disconnected with the road. On the new one, it feels more connected. Now it feels a bit like it is sliding a bit. I improved this from the first versions of the car, but it was still a bit in this way on this version. It is a bit disconnected from the road. And I don't mean for the bounces, for this stuff. I mean about the grip itself. So let's go. Yeah, the maximum gearing is a bit too low. Okay, well, let's cut. I don't know now. I think I hit about 80% before. Let's try, I don't know, 60. Whoa, I hit 100. Okay, yeah, no, I was too good. Well, the point is that when you lock up, it is in downhills, it is easy to lose the grip. And now I had more difficulty with that because it's not the 390 engine. We are going a bit slower, and that could be part of the reason. The streaming is still going on. Okay, yeah, it is working. Seidu, I shown a lot of stuff. I'm live from an hour. I cannot repeat myself. Also because I would lose track. That's most of the reason, actually. It's not because of the time of the stuff. You can just watch the live again. So I switched back to the extended physics version. I was on the old version now. So to be short, I will just repeat this. I will repeat that the biggest differences are, aside from the new features, some of which you can see here. Pure richness and the steer rod length, that are new features, but also the force feedback is better. You have vibrations, you have body weight shifting, you have ragdoll effect on driver. But the main issues were on the full brakes. Now it's solved. I mean, it is more realistic when you stop to 0 kilometers per hour. It is better what happens when you lock up, also when you are not stopped. So it loses a more reasonable amount of grip. It is more connected, but I was saying the issues. The full braking, the full steering, now it is solved, as you can see. And it also jumps around when you do this, because in real life you can jump around because you are being aggressive. And this is just as it should be. I'm so happy about this. And the other one was a weird oversteering at higher speeds, and that's solved too. I shown that in Campillos. So let's try the braking here. Okay, now I braked too much. I mean, that always happens, but I don't know if you have noticed, but I lost more speed now because I lost less grip. That's the point. So that's a thing that I could in theory already change without extended physics, to be clear. But I didn't do that because there was a reason for that. The reason was that in real life, if you lose a kart at high speeds, you brake too much. It is sometimes very difficult to recover that. Let's try that. See? It still happens. That's the difference. Because, let's try to explain this clearly, because I'm forming what I'm saying while I'm saying that. Without extended physics, I made the grip loss a bit too much, a bit too strong, because otherwise the kart will be just too easy to recover when you did stupid stuff like overdriving and then trying to correct it with overbraking. It won't save you in real life. If you are going too fast, you are going too fast, period. So we could say, in quotes, we could say that you deserve that. You deserve to lose control and not be able to just recover with a counter steer, let's say. So for that reason, because it was important for a training standpoint also, let's say, maybe I overshot it a bit, and for that reason, also for that reason the full stops had, but also for that reason it was bad what happened when you lost grip even while moving. But I said also for the stops, because full stops are better also thanks to extended physics, because it is just better on how it handles the full stops. It's better. As soon as I tweaked some things, I noticed that right away, even before I changed anything about grip. So now, I was saying, I did that a bit too much because of the outcomes of overdriving. They should be as severe as they are in real life. And now they still are, thanks to extended physics. But you say, why? Because the kart is more complex. It has more masses to move around. It has more moving parts. So, as you can see, when you lose control now, the kart, it's not only about jumping around, which was a thing that I was happy I was able to do in original Assetto Corsa. But it's not only that anymore. The kart does bend. It is basically chassis flex. I'm not using anymore extended physics chassis flex. There is a specific functionality called like that. But it only is a parameter. It only gives you a parameter, and it also has very weird bugs. There was this bug on 0.2.3, which I have to contact Elia. Hopefully, he will reply me, but I'm not sure about that. Where basically it was crazy. If I try to oversteer the kart like this, it will do that a lot on one side and not at all on the other side. Why are you not saying what side? Because if you're closing the game, when you close the game and you open it again without changing anything, the sides would change, would be the opposite. So let's say if on the right I had oversteer like a lot by doing this, and then I had understeer on the other side, on the left. If I open the game again, I would have oversteer on the left and understeer on the right. And when I noticed that, after hours of debugging that, I said, I was just crazy. I went just mad because I was saying, what the hell? What I'm wasting time for? This is clearly a bug of the engine. And it was such a weird one. I mean, I never seen anything like this in any game ever. How come would they change the sides when you open the game again? Just crazy. So in any case, it doesn't give you a lot of control. You only have two parameters actually, which is one for the strength of the torsion, against the torsion of the chassis. So you have the resistance against torsion, the strength of the chassis, the torsional strength, and you have the torsional damping. But it would be only one parameter. You wouldn't even be able to choose on what axis, from what I understand. I didn't see any option for changing that between the z-axis, I mean the longitudinal axis, the vertical axis, or the lateral one. It was just two parameters. I mean, I don't have much control with that. I don't have control of where that happens, of the torsion of the front side of the kart compared to the rear. So since it was, I didn't only enable that, I also had already all the cosmic suspension setup, which was tunable. When I was using the chassis flex provided by CSP, I tried to make it all work together, you know. And up to 0.2.2 it looked fine. Then I switched to 0.2.3 and I noticed that bug. And at that point I said, okay, if they are able to speed up, it is just better that I avoid using that chassis flex thing. And it is not needed because the cosmic suspension setup that I created is not like the Assetto Corsa one. On Assetto Corsa you basically are forced almost to use the double wishbone setup, and which is the usual race car setup, no? And I used that one for the kart you have now. So it was emulating the chassis by having very large wishbones that went almost to the center, to each corner of the kart. So you had this wishbone from here to here, about. Also the other side, of course, and for the rear about the same thing, maybe with a bit different geometry. Now I don't even remember what. Oh, I break my arm. So it was double wishbones emulating the chassis effect, and it kind of worked. It wasn't too bad. I mean, it is not a bad card, one that you have already. Otherwise, people wouldn't be happy about it, you know. But this one is much more complex. I don't want to show the geometry already. I mean, I prefer not showing it, but it is. It has It has more points. Let's say it has more components. The rear is an axle. Is a real axle now. So the two wheels on the rear are forced. Where is my hand? Are forced to stay parallel to each other. So let's imagine you have the kart now, and there is a curb on the left, a very tall one. So it is easier to show. What happens is this on the rear axle. This is what should happen. You have the hands always facing one another. The wheels, of course. I mean the rear ones. While this is what happens on the extended faces one. What happened before? It was a bit different because I tried by making them large to make it more similar to what it should be. So, but the angle of the wheels could be independent. So in that context, if we imagine the kart being completely horizontal all the time, let's say, only one wheel would lift. The other wheel would be as it was, and that's not what happens on an axle. Of course, they should be always facing one another. And that's a thing that could not be done on Assetto Corsa. On vanilla Assetto Corsa it was impossible. And so that's a difference. Also one difference, the caster that it is working, thanks to the fixes they have done. So yeah, it is more nuanced, the driving, because also of that. Because you have more components moving around, and the masses all have their mass. So they are weights, I mean. Also there is the ragdoll effect of the driver affecting the kart. There is in particular the driver can be literally detached from the seating. You cannot see that, sadly, because the animation is working for the bodyweight shifting. Yeah, okay. Now I'm using the shifters because I'm using this camera, so you can see. This is the animation that you can see when you use the shifters. And that's because it is done by CSP, so it is working. I don't know how. I'm not sure that I could do that too, because they have a different set of functions, the authors of CSP, than the ones that us modders outside from the team of CSP have. So you don't see that, but what happens when you hit, I don't know, you fly around, you hit a very high curb and the kart literally detaches from the ground, the driver could detach from the seat. You don't see that, but a weight equivalent to the driver weight will detach from the seat. And at one point will go back to the seat, and it will have a strong impact on the seat. And that will unsettle the kart. These are things that all work together. So it is super hard to make work well. Every time I added something, I had to reiterate over the suspension setups, because otherwise the kart would stop bouncing, would stop driving well. You know, the more variables you had, the more complexity you're adding, and for that reason, the more the time could theoretically increase for getting the result you want. So you have a result in mind, you add complexity because it gives you more potential control, more potential finesse over what you are doing, but it also gives you more time to work on stuff. You will need that, because otherwise you will fuck up stuff. And I've seen other people doing cool stuff. I also bought those. I tried driving on them and they just driven terribly. I'm sorry. Hopefully I'm not insulting anybody, but it is difficult to make it well, because the more stuff you add, the more stuff you will have to tune to make all work together. It's not like you do well the individual parts and they work together. It's not like that. Every part can interfere on the other parts, and for that reason it can be very hard to do well. And for that reason I was so happy when I was able to just fix the final things, you know, because now it feels stiff enough. Maybe I'm not sure about that. It should be maybe a bit stiffer, but maybe not too much. but I'm not sure. I think it is very good now. Also, now that I'm driving it with you, I'm happy about the behaviors, because it's not like, since you have this that can make you oversteer, you will always oversteer when you do that. It's not the case. Sometimes if you do that gently, you can do understeer because of this. Now it did not. But it depends on many things. Now I had maybe the weight helping me. So it does depend on many things. The tires, the track shape. But I noticed some understeer in some scenarios. So it is like real life, because in KZR, by instance, I am able to get understeer, and you can combat it by using more of the brake and more of the steering, that stuff. So yeah, I don't know if it was very visible, the difference. For some things, for sure it was, but in Tucuru, I'm not sure if the braking was an obvious difference, because I wasn't able to do a fast lap. So it wasn't very obvious. The torsional flex basically means how much force you need to apply to rotate one end of the kart while keeping the other end fixed. Yes, but on what axis? It's not given. I mean, you can have torsional stiffness on every axis. That's the point, because if you do that from the longitudinal axis, you're comparing the angle of the front compared to the rear, watched from a front point of view, let's say. Yeah, but it's not given. It's not given, because you could also have the torsional difference between the right side and the left one. Why not? It is just a different axis. Torsion is along an axis. If you have a transmission, of course you do have a column, no? The one that transfers the power from the engine to the wheels. And of course, then you consider the torsional stiffness to that axis, to the longitudinal axis of that rotating mass. Of course, okay. So when you have rotating masses, then it is obvious what axis you are looking at. But it is torsion also on the other axis. Technically, you could also consider the bend as a torsion, but it depends. It depends on. Oof, a second, because my cat wants to leave my room. Bye, Leo. So of course, if we are speaking about transmissions, and I don't know how to call that. The oof. Now I destroy something under my feet. If you are talking about rotating masses, it is usually simply the rotating axis, the one of torsion. But since we are talking about a three-dimensional shape, let's say, the chassis, it is on every axis. We could consider maybe more realistically just the x and the y axis. I mean by that the lateral axis and the longitudinal one. For that reason, you could consider the one from the back to the front, front to back is the same, and the ones from the right to the left, and the opposite way around. So it doesn't give you the control on the individual axis, and it is not only on one axis. It is correct. It is the right definition, but it's to say a torsion, you need to define also on what axis. And since it doesn't, I think it means on every axis. So I want more control than that, and for that, it is just better to use the cosmic suspension, as somebody in the team of CSP has recommended me in any way. When I reported that bug, they told me, yeah, just use cosmic because it works better. You have more control, and it was working better. Let's say that chassis flex is cool, but this is maybe it's not something that you want to use to get an accurate handling, because it does too many things with too little parameters, so you cannot tune everything. Let's say that you have the right front to back torsion stiffness, but then you notice that it doesn't handle well for some things. It is different to imagine a scenario where you want to do that, but you still want to do that because you have more control. If it does affect every axis, I want to choose the stiffness, because it is depending on real life on the shape of the chassis. So oh, that's what you're saying. Okay, yeah, it is possible. Yeah, it is possible that you're right. Yeah, because the examples that I've seen were always on the front to back. yeah, that's a possibility. And in fact, actually, I used it only for that because it was stiff from the front to the rear, so I give a bit more play. I gave a more play, sorry, from the front to the back using that. And it was working reasonably well, but at the same time, it doesn't give you much control, even in one axis, because you have, imagine a spring. In Assetto Corsa and CSP even more, you have a lot of control for one spring. You have the range, you have the damping, which you also have in the chassis flex, but you also have the increase of rate depending on there is a proportional rate. By instance, there is a you can even use the loot files, which are a set of coordinates, let's say from X to Y. So I mean, it's a map of values, so you can tune it as you want. You can define the bump stop strength when they are hit. You can define a lot of stuff that you cannot tune with the chassis flex. So I think the chassis flex alone would be a huge error to be used. If you just use the chassis flex, you have no control over what the kart is doing. And it doesn't make much sense because, as you said, probably it does only the difference between front to back angle. But it is an easy error to make because it's not very clear to understand. For that reason, it is true that you need to do much testing, everything you do, and that's what is taking time. So now I will. So for now, as I was saying, I'm not using chassis flex feature, that one, the one that Yuval has mentioned, but the chassis is defined in cosmic suspensions in such a way that it is replicating very well the mechanical aspect of a chassis. Of course, there is always room for improvement, but as I was saying earlier, the more stuff you add, the more it is easy to make a very weird handling kart or whatever it is. It is better to add complexity only where you are likely to get an advantage from that. Because imagine you do define everything about a chassis and you make it identical. To make it drive it identical, if the engine is capable of that, which is probably not the case, you need to have the original. I don't know. You need to have data that maybe not even manufacturers have, because they do collect some stuff, some torsional stuff, the stiffness in general of the chassis. They do that for the owner carts. For the rentals, I don't think they do. Maybe the manufacturer does have those values, but yeah, probably they do. But they will not disclose them in any case. So it doesn't make much sense to add the complexity where it is not needed, because it is easy to be just a problem. So I added complexity compared to the current version. I also added stuff that could be optional, maybe, but I tried that, and for that reason, I'm sure that it has given an improvement over the handling, the feeling, whatever it was. So yeah, it is interesting because you need to with cosmic what has happened with let's open this again. With extended physics, you can do a lot of stuff, and sometimes the limit is the imagination. But the limit is also to make something that has to work well. And yeah, it's not like you don't need to pursue complexity just for the sake of it. It has to give a benefit. That's what I'm saying. If it does, great. Then you have to work on that to make it perfect, and it's what I'm trying to do. And I think I'm pretty happy about the result. So I'm sure you will be too. We will have to test. I think you will see a bit of a dark track here now. I didn't enable lighting effects. I was saying I have to do some tests also before release. Mostly online. It's a thing that I didn't try. I don't know what happens online. Oh, I was saying a thing that this is a worry of mine, the online, for now. I'm not sure. I think it's not a problem. Because against AI, you didn't have the chance to see that, but if even one driver retires, they will bug. They will their physics engine will completely fuck up, and they will just rotate in the air. It looks very funny. You didn't have a chance of looking at that. In Tucuru, you would, because they do go over. They exit the track for some reason, and then they retire. As soon as somebody of them retires, they will. All of them will fuck up. The physics engine of them will fuck up, and so basically, at that point, you are just driving alone. Now it is too bright. Oh well, we will keep it too bright. I removed Pure recently, and for that reason I have exposure issues. So, oh, I forgot changing the tires, I think. Oh. Tires, yeah, I did forget that. Let's see how it handles, because I didn't test this track after I fixed the force feedback, so I think it will be better than it was. Okay. Yeah, I think it is a bit. It has oversteered a bit too much there. Yeah, it is easy to make to do errors. I don't know what you see, but I see that I am driving basically in paradise. It's all white. It feels quite good. The only thing is that sometimes, let's try the first hairpin again. Maybe I wasn't gentle enough on the input. Also, for some reason here it is slower, I think, while on the other track it is not. On the other tracks. Yeah, now, I mean, it doesn't count this now. Let's try if I can do a nice... Okay, this was pretty good. Yeah, so maybe I wasn't gentle enough. Yeah, as you can see, the wheel is pretty strong, actually. Maybe I could tune it a bit down at this speed. I have a curve for that. I can change the FFP strength at any speed. And speaking of that, I also taken some safety measures, let's say, above 100 kilometers per hour, which is not a speed that this kart should ever reach. The force feedback will be turned off, because it could mean that something crashed and it could hurt you. So, I mean, it is force feedback. If you have a strong wheel, it could hurt you. My one is 15 Newton meters. It's not maybe enough to hurt me unless I leave the wheel and then I try to take it back while it is going fast. That could be very hurtful. I didn't try to do that yet. But I think I am on the limit of what is not dangerous. There are people that are using 20 Newton meters, even 30. I don't know why. But with those machines, if the physics engine bugs, which with cosmic suspensions, with extended physics, you need to keep in mind that CSP is getting changed every now and then, and so some bugs could be introduced. And if the engine bugs, it could say to the wheel to go full strength to one side or the other. And of course, I'm not responsible of that. So if you have a strong wheel and you are afraid of that happening, just limit the maximum power and you will be safe. So with 15 Newton meters, I don't have that problem. I just keep it at maximum power. In game it is 50%. That is why in my range I always am at about 50%. And I can do that because this wheel for now didn't hurt me. So should be fine. But it's not, it depends on the wheel you have, so just be careful. Yeah, I'm happy also on the indoor. It is pretty good. I want to do one more lap. Then I think I will show you what happens with the AI in Tucuru. And consider that I told you their physics breaks, but at least the carrier you are driving doesn't. Because earlier, also your one did. And I was able to fix that. Yeah, basically there is an issue with a feature that I'm using of a CSP, and it will be fixed on next version. I already spoke with the guys. Okay, so let's see what happens. See, oh, yeah, maybe this was a bit too much. Yeah, maybe I need to check it a bit. But I mean, it's pretty good otherwise. See, how much the caster works depends also on the chassis stiffness, no? Because if the chassis is softer, then the difference of angle that it is caused. Let's stop for a bit. I want to explain this a bit better. When you use when you have caster like these ones, the axis of the wheel where it turns around, it's not vertical. It is tilted a bit on the inside and on the back, should be. So the wheel actually rotates not against the vertical axis, but a bit back and a bit on the side. So what happens is that the wheel now is pushing downwards, and this other one has lifted a bit. So the front will rotate a bit on the outside, like this, counterclockwise, and while the rear stays where it is. So for this reason, what can happen is that this, anzi, it's an Italian word. I meant this one pushes down, this one doesn't. For this reason, the whole cart will lift a bit on the above. You can also see that, no? For that reason, the rear right wheel in this scenario will lose load, will even lift. Depends on speed, depends on the cart. For that reason, you have more oversteer. That's why it was a problem before, and now it is fixed because it didn't work. This thing, it shown like the animation shown like it was working, but it wasn't. And for that reason, it didn't lift enough one side, because a bit it worked, but not enough. Now it does maybe a bit too much, and to compensate that, you can make the chassis softer. And for that reason, if you do that, it means that the front side of the cart can be a bit above, while the rear can be a bit below, because the chassis is flexing more, and then the caster will work less. So that's an example of where you need variables, because chassis flex in this case was good enough, but then I couldn't have more tuning, because I could not change, I don't know, the stiffness in front compared to the rear one. It was just the whole stiffness. So yeah, it is a cool feature, but I don't know if it is the case using. Now I'm happy with the result I got, so I don't think, unless I try it and they fix it and it is good and it is driving well, then I can enable it back. But it's driving very well now and it is good. One difference is that the chassis flex that I'm not using is that it deformed the 3D model, and that's a thing that now it doesn't happen. The animation of the chassis is the same of before, so you will not notice the cart bending. That's kind of a pity, but it is what it is. But I think that maybe I could do that too. I was mentioning that for the driver they did this. If I can do this on the scripting side, also if also I can do that, maybe I can also do that for the chassis shape, for the 3D model shape. I mean, I don't know. In theory, you really have a lot of things to do here if you want to use them all. Let's go back. Yeah, if somebody has joined too late, I will show you how to push back. Hold down the downshifter, and after 5 seconds, you will be pushed back by a guy that you don't see. And also applies to focus. If you held down recently, it will push right away. If we wait 5 seconds, I wasn't specifying before. 5, 4, 5, 6. It will make you wait again. Because of course. This means that we have to be careful. Because if you end up here in a race, you are pretty much fucked up. Because you don't have the rear anymore. So you have to wait for the guy to come here, and then you will be pushed from the barrier, and then you can go again. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about this. I cannot wait to release it, but as you have seen, it is easy to have issues to solve, because when you do many things can go wrong. But I mean, it's only a matter of time when you fix them, hopefully. it is working for a long time. Speaking of that, CSP can change stuff and can introduce some bugs. For that reason, I think I could introduce maybe, I don't know, either I just write somewhere the supported version inside the cart info. I mean this info here, if I can open it. This one. If you do that, okay. Here maybe I could mention that. Otherwise, I could make pop up some text that says, I don't know, version X is not tested yet. I think I have some ideas, but for now I didn't implement anything. The force feedback react to the caster. So, yeah, that's true. You mean that it becomes harder, right? It is what you mean, correct? I'm aiming flashes all the time. Yeah, me too, Magix. And here in VR it was worse. So consider yourself lucky. It was worse because it was all white and it is in your face. You are in VR. So it is literally on your face. Yeah, I wanted to show you the bug of the AI. Okay, yeah, Yuval, that doesn't work. I wanted to do that. I can do that. I think I will do that. It also happens on speed because it's not a thing I do a lot. When you go fast, it increases in strength. Also, when you move, or it is a thing that you notice when you're stopped because when you're rolling, I think it is more difficult. Sorry, when you're not rolling. It's what I imagine because when you're moving, you're stealing, so there is a G-force, a lateral G-force that is helping you to lift the chassis, which you don't have when you are stopped. So I ask you again: does this thing about the force feedback, I mean the wheel strength, happen also when you are moving or only when you're stopped? Because if I want to model it, it has to be modeled correctly. I mean, for some reason it doesn't. It is a bit strange because it is lifting the cart. You have seen that, so it is weird. That's for sure. And I expected that to happen, but it didn't. So I can script that basically. You normally, yeah, that's true. But when people, when you are doing that for oversteering, if you want to do that, because I've seen some people doing that, but I should ask to those people. You probably are not, and I am not either. I think I did. I think I do though. In KZR, I did sometimes because it is the test I've done. I do that to create some oversteer, and I didn't notice the wheel becoming particularly strong. So I think it is more of a difference when you're stopped. So let's see what happens. Let's make you see what happened actually, because I know what happens. I think that after showing you these, I think I covered everything. I wasn't as linear as I wished. I thought also the live could be shorter because I mean I repeated myself and stuff. Oh, yeah, I just crashed. Sometimes it could happen, but it is random from what I remember at least, because I mean you have seen another AI race. I didn't have that issue, so yeah, it is probably random. Let's try again. So what I was saying is that I hope that this stuff don't happen. Sorry, wait. Can I reset the camera? Like, why not? Maybe. What is happening? A second. Maybe the window is not focused. Let's try. No, it's not resetting the center. This is strange. Yeah, this is just VR stuff, VR issues. Wait a second. Let's load again the controller setup. But it all looks regular. Why didn't? This is weird. Okay, so let's just change the runtime. Whatever. Just work, please. The weather was random. Did the game open or I made it crash? Okay. I think I made it crash. A second. You always have to remember that what you see is not given that it is what I see, because I am in VR and it is weird for many things. Switch to desktop. Okay, yeah, it is my fault. Okay. Hopefully now it will work fine. Come on. Okay, seems good. I'm not in VR though for some reason. Oh, it is crashed again. Come on. Yeah, maybe with AI you will have to fight against a bit. I don't know what it depends on. I think it might be the CSP version. I don't know. Hopefully, it's not stuff that can happen online. It is different, by the way. AI is a thing. Online racing is another. Oh, is this rain? I think I am in rain. No, maybe it is just fog. Yeah, I think it's fog. Okay. Oh, come on. Do what I say. Let's go. Okay, seems all good. So we are waiting for the AI to retire, because you will have to see what happens. Let's restart, because they are faster if you restart. They wait less meters for some reason if you restart the session. Ooh. I think I did a jump start. No, okay. Oh, there is a threshold. The game has a threshold that you can move in. If you don't move above some centimeters, it will not give you the penalty, which is true also in real life, kind of. So, yeah. Okay, so let's wait for them to retire. I'm pretty sure they will, because as you can see, they are not. They look a bit boaty. They are a bit boats. They don't have the same physics as I have, and that's because otherwise they would just crash and have issues. So now you see them very slow. You know about the engine power not changing. They should have more power. In this case, I didn't focus at all at realism, because on karts they just have too many issues for that. Okay, now I think it will go away from the road. No, you have to crash. You will have to crash, guys. Come on. Well, I have more power. I will have to crash them outside the road. This is a very interesting weather, though. It looks so cool. It looks very, very cool. You have this kind of haze to the sun. Okay, so oh, this was a corner where the rear would oversteer. Now it doesn't anymore. It can, but not so easily. Okay, so let's see. I will also stop him. Okay, so he will retire, because he cannot move. Huh. See what happened? This was happening also to you if I didn't do some changes. And the wheel would just go nuts, and you would have a bad time on a strong wheel. So as you have seen, they will rotate in air, and then they will go back to the pits. So yeah, and they will still be bugged in the pits, I think. Yeah, looks funny, but I wished it wasn't a problem. But I mean, for now it is the only solution we have. I mean, there is no solution. The solution, what it is, to drive on to race against AI on tracks that don't have issues with AI. I have to say that they don't. If the track is good, they don't usually retire now, which is it's pretty cool. So you can at least race on them. Sadly, I don't have the. I have some bugs in the code, because you should have seen them going fast as you are. Yeah, it becomes very apocalyptic at one point. You know, I wanted to see. I will not. I will try to do this without. Yeah, no, it wasn't a crash. I simply closed the game. What is this screen? I don't know what you see. Hopefully, the live is going on still. Switch to VR. No. Switch to the desktop, please. Okay, so let's see if the streaming is going on. Seems all good. So I don't know what happens in real life. Speed needs to be tested. Yeah, it's quite scary, but yes. I will just I will take a look at a second at the code. I will use my laptop for that, because I have a NAS, and They are called network attached storage. I have one of those. I made it. It's just a computer where you have a system that is made for sharing files inside your home. So it is very cool because you can have the same files on more than one computer and keep them synced. So I will just take a look at the code from here, and for now you will only have to wait. This is because it should be a pretty stupid bug, because I changed the thing in the code that changes the power curve, and probably I created a bug that I didn't notice. So let's see. I will remove. If I don't wear the VR, you cannot hear me. Hello. Okay. Which is a pity. So yeah, I will have to hold it with my hand. Okay, so here is the power curve of the 270. They are okay. They are different, so that's not a bug, but I was sure about that. There is a function that hmm. Yeah, okay, this one should be good, I think. Maybe this function here could be a problem. No, this one is good. So okay, so let's see. Yeah, maybe I will not be able to fix this. Also because I'm not entirely sure that it is that issue. So I mean, I'm not even sure that there is an issue, but it is a bit. The 390 looked to me too slow, so I'm pretty sure there is an issue. Okay, so. Oh, maybe the issue is not. Let me think a second. Okay, so there is this function, but I also did another one for the mixture of the fuel, and I don't find it, which is a bit strange. So let's see. Oh, second for the fuel. No, I think the laptop doesn't have the last version of the script, so that's a problem. What can I do? No, it's not live, Karim. It is a work in progress. I will just see the code from my GitHub. Let's say that I've shown everything, maybe. I'm not completely sure, because if it can be fixed, I think I will do that now. Because you didn't see the 390, basically. I'm pretty sure about that. It wasn't powerful enough, while the 270 looked good to me. The file I want to open. Can I just see the code? Give me a second. Okay, so let's see what I have done. So yeah, I'm loading the figure richness. I have the function for torque. I don't know. In theory, it is good. Yeah, I cannot fix it now. Oh well, I think you have seen enough stuff for today, and yeah, I mean, the 390 was just a different engine. I'm more disappointed because of the AI, because when it works quite well. Meaning that now you didn't see the AI go fast because the engine was underpowered for them, because for technical issues they are heavier for technical reasons more than issues. So let's take a look at the document. Okay, I have the virtual monitor of the in VR, I mean, in front of me. Okay, we are back on the desk. So I've shown you the body weight shifting. At least I've shown you the animation and what happens on the tire loads. It wasn't very visible, but it does have an effect. Adding ballast moves the center of mass to the left. I just told you. I mean, I told you in general. You didn't see that, but it changes the loads on the way on the tires, more on the left. So the new setup stuff, you have seen that. You have seen, I told you about the GX200, which I want to add. I will add it as a new copy of the card, basically. Then the automatic braking on stop, you have seen that. You have seen the gear being fixed to the first. You've seen the throttle being locked while braking. You cannot accelerate and brake at the same time. You have seen the mechanism where you get pushed by a fictional person, let's say, which will help you to get away from the wall if you crashed on the wall, or outside, or if you got stuck outside the track, you can use that. Better automatic clutch with viscosity. I mean, I told you it was visible sometimes, but I'm not sure you have seen that. But it's not a big difference. It's just finance stuff. Yeah, the engine braking is a bit better, meaning that it will slow down the kart for longer, because now at about, depends on the gearing, on the gear length. If you have like, I don't know, maybe 50 kilometers max per hour, kilometers per hour, at about, I don't know, 25 maybe, the clutch was already fully down, and then you wouldn't have engine brake anymore, and it was too early for that. So now the engine brake works also when you are going slower. Not it could be even more, but in theory now it is about like the real one. So it will keep slowing the kart down at a bit slower speeds than it was now with the public version. So you've seen the better throttle response with the delay. See, yeah, so you've seen that. Better full stops, yes, totally. Better full lock steering, yes, totally. You've seen that too. The improved overall FFB with the. I shown you some examples. The engine vibrating. I think it was a bit visible during the driving in general, that the kart would give me more feeling on the wheel, also because of the kart bending and stuff like that. The gyroscopic stabilization, you've seen that when I left the steering wheel, and it wouldn't just steer left and right like crazy. I compared it a bit with the 0.191, but I repeat, this is a comparison that it makes most sense when you have the hands on the kart. And then a race against AI, we did some with on 2.0, so I have to change that. Yeah, I also shown you a bit more things that here wasn't written. I forgot which way they were, but it doesn't matter. I think I will put sections. Yeah, I will do that later. So I don't know if you have any questions. Yeah, maybe the most important question, which I didn't see yet, is when, but maybe it was already made. No, maybe it wasn't. Well, by the way, the when is after the season 2 ending, which is actually in 3 days, and I should practice a bit. I should practice. Oh yeah, you don't see this part of the screen. Yeah, almost. You see, okay, it's better because there were some personal messages. Okay, so we have a race in Tuesday the 8th. Sorry, no, the 5th. No, I'm watching the wrong month, I think. Yeah. yeah, on the 18th we have the last season 2 race, and I think maybe we have to do. I have to do some testing with some people I know, even just one person. It is fine online to see if everything is working well, because for that I have no answer yet. And when I am sure that it is good, I have to improve. Let's take some notes, because maybe too much oversteer in KZR been in sector 2. Yeah, and then there was and yeah, well, test day fine. I think the rear maybe is a bit too bouncy too. Maybe a bit too bouncy, but it is pretty good. I think I will not change too many things at this point, because it is finally a good package. And in any case, I will receive feedback later on. So I do expect a version 2.01, 2.02, and so on. It's not given that the version 2 is the final one. Speaking of that, I forgot to mention that it will be a bit of a boring thing, that there is some problem with the texturing, because I improved the UV mapping. It is better, but the texture needs to be remade. I will have to update the template, and I think I will, at this point, I will fix every single skin I was given so far, because there is some problem with the masking. Now, here you see it black, but in game it is worse than this. Because I changed the UV map. See, now my name is better. It is straight. It was a bit curved earlier in the current version, and I improved also this area. It had this part curved outwards. It is fixed. It's not perfect yet, because on this skin it actually looks almost perfect. But if I change that to the KZR1, to this skin from KZR, there are some letters that still look skewed, and I think the texture is not so yeah. Yeah. Let's see how it is looking. No, here. Okay. Yeah, as you can see here, it is not skewed. The Z is just a Z. It's not bent or something, while it is here. So there is still some issue with the UV map, and it is difficult because you have X and Y axis. Of course, you have two axes, so you can be wrong either one or the other, and also you have the curvature of the 3D shape, and so it is difficult to do it very well. And yeah, so that's also a part that I need to fix. I think I was mentioning something that I forgot here, though. I don't know. I will just watch back my life in the final part. Sony 390. I'm Samu. I'll just call you Samu. I will reply in both languages. Oggi ho mostrato entrambe, ma c'è da dire che, cioè, il mio kart è già entrambe le versioni. Attualmente c'ha il 270 e il 390, già quello pubblico. L'aggiornamento è tutto nuovo, quindi i motori per ora sono gli stessi, ma aggiungo il GX200, il GX200. Ma oggi c'erano dei problemi nell'applicare la potenza. Cioè, io lo sto facendo adesso tramite script questo lavoro, perché è meglio, appunto. Ci sono dei diversi motivi, ho aggiunto diverse cose per la potenza che rendono il motore più vero. Per questo motivo cambio la versione del motore, la potenza del motore la faccio dallo script, e quindi c'è qualche problema sullo script. La potenza è sempre stata quella del 270 oggi, in questa versione che appunto è un lavoro, un work in progress. Quindi la risposta è: ci stanno, ma adesso funziona il 270, ma questa non è la versione pubblica. La versione pubblica ha il 390 e funziona. Quindi io quando rilascio le cose sono funzionanti. Controllo 30 volte, ma devono essere funzionanti. So for replying Samu in English, the current kart has the GX 270 and the 390. they both work correctly, of course, in the public version, because it's not a beta, it's not a work in progress stuff. While the update I've shown today is an experimental update for now, of course, it's work in progress. And it does have, of course, the same engines, 270 and 390, and I will add the 200. But there was since now I'm applying torque using the script and not the original Assetto Corsa way of applying torque, I noticed probably an issue on that. There is a bug on the script. So you've seen today only the 270. I'm almost sure about that. I'm almost certain about that because it was very slow at building power. I will maybe write it in the comments later because now the live is finished. I don't think I have other things to talk about. So you have seen all this stuff. I was very disorganized, but yeah, at least you have seen many things. And about the release date, I said for sure after the last race, the latest race of ACK of season 2, and for sure it will be before the season 3, of course. So I think realistically, to be sure about everything working well, maybe maximum 1 week from the finish of season 2. So that will mean before the 25, I hope. I prefer to take the releases very seriously, to be careful, and also to take them relaxed. There is no rush, let's say, for this. Also because today I implemented the fuel mixture, for instance. So sometimes the ideas just come later. What will happen with Assetto Corsa Evo? I've made a story about that. No, they mentioned the fact that they seem how can you say that? They seem interested in making a bit of a different way of making mods. Like, yes, modding, cooperating with the best ones. So it is very interesting. Hopefully, it doesn't mean that the other guys won't have a chance, because I don't like that kind of way of doing things. Because if there is somebody, I just joined the modding community. I mean, it's not true. It's not true. What I just said is complete bullshit, because I do mods since 2011. No, before that. In time, a second. World. What's that? Religio. This is the first game I ever modded. I am born in 1995. This is a page that this is a website that it is recent. They uploaded my mods without asking. They found even my oldest ones. But then by asking, you can get control of your account and do whatever you want. So very cool, because I found out some mods that I even forgot about. Yeah, these ones were the first. Then I did a package that I don't see here, which had like 40 cars converted from Need for Speed High Stakes. And I also converted this one recently because I just wanted to. So basically, first one, let's find the first one. It says that it was released in 2008. Tomorrow, it will be exactly how much? 16 years? It's scary. This is very scary. Tomorrow it is exactly 6 years. Yeah, sure. 16 years. And I was 13. But I'm sure that I released also some things a bit earlier. I don't think this is I think this is the first one. No, well, whatever that is, it is that. 2000. We have 2008 for sure. I don't remember if I also did something earlier now. Well, point is that I do mods from a lot of time. But for making mods seriously, this is my first one. Let's say I worked on it a lot. And now maybe some people are starting to take me seriously. And I mean, even in the CSP, they tend to be a bit, I don't know how to say that. They are good. They are amazing at what they do. They are very skilled, but they tend to they are a bit judgmental. Some of them, not all of them. There are some people that I don't like the attitude of, and I think some of them are changing a bit their attitude in my how do you say that? to me, their attitude to me, let's say, because they are seeing some stuff that I'm doing, I think. And so, yeah. The point I was making is that if Assetto Corsa Evo wants to be modded only by, if they give stuff only to good modders, I mean, you have to prove that to be good. It makes sense, but it is also not very nice if you don't have if you don't give the chance also to new people to join, you know. By the way, being a bit more egoistic, I think that I could have not such issues because I have some stuff to show. Not this one. Yeah, I was a kid, but I mean, yeah, what I've done with the cart, I think it is interesting. I think it shows it is a lifetime that I messed around with physics inside the games, with car physics. But I mean, just playing around. I don't mean coding and stuff like that. I only started coding in 2015 very badly, and then I did that a bit better in Apple Developer Academy, and then I did that good, or at least good enough for a professional, maybe for a junior one. I'm not the great coder here. At university since 2018 until 2022. So, well, I have a bit. Aside from coding, by the way, I do mods for fun and whatever from a lot of time. This one, by instance, was a. I should have a different version of this. By the way, there was. I think there is the GTR one, and I won a championship with this one. It was cool because we had to make our own cars, and my one was just the fastest. We had to set a set of rules. It wasn't like the Formula DS, so you had to stay inside some rules, and I won 2 of them in a row. As a driver, just one. As manufacturer, 2 of them. So it was very cool. A lot of time ago, 2011. But it wasn't this one, because this one, it says 2008. So, well. So maybe they want new people to practice modding. Yeah, that could be an idea. They could, yeah, because I mean, nobody is preventing you to make great mods on Assetto Corsa. It is here. It will stay here. CSP will stay here. So if you have issues on making stuff for a CEVO, you can still go back to this one. And it was, and it also kinda is, because I mean, it's not granted that they will actually do a partnership with me. I hope so. I do know somebody that could give me the right contacts, because Assetto Corsa is Italian. I knew a guy which is Italian, and he did the tire model. He did a paper of for tire simulation modeling, and that paper was used in Assetto Corsa. It's not only probably the only reference, but it was part of what has made the Assetto Corsa tire model. With all the limitations it has, it's not perfect. With CSP it becomes better, but it is always, you always need to remember that it is a game that was released in 2014. So yeah, it is a bit of time ago, so it's normal. And every time you develop a game, it's not like modding. With modding, potentially you can put anytime you want, but when you have a company, you have people to pay, you have some time restrictions, and that will make the game inevitably not as good if you don't, compared to if you didn't have such restrictions. So Assetto Corsa has some limitations. We'll see what happens with SE Evo, and we will see what happens modding wise with SE Evo. Hopefully they will give me and everybody that deserves that the chance of doing good stuff for that. So yeah, I'm totally interested in doing that for SE Evo. But for now, the focus is staying in Assetto Corsa. Also, it depends on what the game engine will be capable of. So yeah, so for now it is a bit like foreseeing the future, which I cannot do. So with the Evo, I'm interested, in short, but we will have to see what happens. I have good hopes because of what they have said about modding, which is good. I mean, I like what they have said in general. It could be potentially problematic, but it's good that they are at least. It's not like they made money with IC and they said, fuck it all, we don't care about modding anymore, we don't need you anymore. Instead, it seems like they still care about modding, at least up to a point. And it was a great business idea. I don't know if they knew that, but maybe they just liked modding and they wanted it to happen. But it was a great business idea. Assetto Corsa is still growing. It's a game that has been released 10 years ago. Let's see a second. Let's see the interest over time in the world. Yeah, I mean, oh, okay. This is the what time frame? Oh, last day. I don't care. Let's see from 2004. It didn't exist, but okay. This was the first release about. No, even before because there were trailer demos stuff. I mean, look here. This was 2021. From 2022. I mean, it has skyrocketed in interest. It is doubled from what it was until 2021. And I made Formula DS when Assetto Corsa was here, so I don't know if you know the Formula DS. If you don't, you should. This one. This is the speed. It's not the RPM. Yeah, it is. It is this beast. It doesn't use CSP. With CSP, it is way too easier to. It is. Come on, play. It's much easier to do super fast cars if you have a CSP. But in original Assetto Corsa, this was made, and it wasn't so easy. Yeah, so this was played in rallenty, and the replay is full speed. Well, okay, so yeah, this was a very long live. I was hoping to finish it in an hour from the start. Instead, I'm here 2 hours later and a half. So yeah, that's true, exactly. And CSP has done an incredible job. They are having a lot of success for that, and I'm happy about that. I'm not always happy about some things that they do. Because of some tools that they have for themselves and stuff. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's the side I don't like about CSP. But I do like a lot what they have done because I mean, my kart itself couldn't be this good even without extended physics. The version you have now, it already uses CSP, you know. It does that more for cosmetic stuff, like for the moving parts of the plastic pieces, the stuff, the aesthetic stuff, the seat belts moving with the G-forces, all these things. And now that I'm doing this update, I'm using CSP all the way, like all in. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true. In particular on simulators, I think, because when you have a good engine, you really want to use it for anything you can think of. So while on a game, let's say a single player, you do the story, it was good. Maybe you do some tinkering around, which I did on Cyberpunk, like a lot with mods and stuff. But it's not. I mean, simulators are. You can use them even for 30 years. I mean, you are just racing. You know, you want to race online. If the sim is good, it has the right features. If you can add, if you, I mean, you can use those mods for longer because they matter more. Let's say. Now the kart is a completely different experience. Instead, in Cyberpunk, you can install a different car, but it is still the same game. You know. Instead, on a simulator, it is just the engine, what they're giving you, and the features of the sim. So the content is more important. I'm saying that because when I've shown what I'm doing to my relatives and stuff, some people have said, or friends, some people have said, "Oh, you have done this game." No, I didn't make the game. How the hell can you imagine I could do that? But I did what I see, which is. It is funny. I mean, sometimes I was. It was a bit difficult for me to explain, you know, because you're explaining what you did to people that doesn't know even how I don't know my computer works. So yeah, because you see the content, but you don't see the engine behind that. So I didn't make the engine. That's the point, of course. So you know that. the point of that is that modding is even more important, because in simulators you see only the content. You see the track and you see the car. That's what you see. You see the UI, yeah, but you can also change that even with mods. So you can change the game. It is a driving race. Sorry, it is a racing simulator with GT cars. I don't know. You can do that with instead of carts. You can do the simulator of shopping carts, the one in the market. So you can do that. Why not? It becomes a silly game on shopping carts, and you can give stupid physics to that. And with scripting, you can do whatever you can imagine. And I am also saying this. Because sometimes I thought, watching at the electric Sodi karts, I don't know if you've seen this, the F1, it is overpriced, but F1 karts, how it's called, in London, it is. It costs a lot. They told me it is like 100 euros or 80 euros just for, or sterlings, which is even worse, just for, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that. It's crazy. Yeah, by the way, there is a video from this guy. I mean, it's super famous from, I don't remember the name now. Let's go back because I've seen that. Yeah, Cameron does racing. And it is looking very arcade, even though it is not an arcade, it is real life. So sometimes you think, damn, if you really want, you could make Assetto Corsa Mario Kart using scripting enough. You could make it anything. In fact, sometimes you see also on Instagram cars that don't behave like real thing. They drift like super easy, stuff like that, and stuff that works online, that makes videos and clicks and likes, and is not realistic. Yeah, it's crazy. I even seen that, I think now, because it was written, yeah, in the preview, $107. So yeah, about 90 euros, a bit more. It's crazy. So the point is that mostly with scripting you could define anything. You don't necessarily have to make a mod. And actually, I was, aside from scripting, I was when I made the Formula DS. Some people before there was Jimmy Broadbent that has made the videos on it, and so the public perception has changed a lot on this. I only got 8 before Jimmy Broadbent. If you go back to the reviews, now they are mainly positive. No, 4 stars, mostly 5 stars. No, if you go back to the first pages, if they work, because 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 3, okay, 5. Some people already understood that this car was a stupid one. It was just for doing the fastest thing I could, okay? But the argument I told to them was, look, guys, I don't have a way of doing a car mod well, because you need data for doing that well. You need tests. You need mostly data and tests. These 2 things. So why the hell you are breaking me balls when it is full of badly made mods, while I'm not even trying to make something realistic? I mean, it wasn't my intention for this, no? It is clear, it is just for fun, for doing something stupid, to see the limits of the engine. It was just dumb. So yeah, so it was downrated, cool. And people didn't understand. When Jimmy Broadbent has done a video on that, actually he's made 2 videos on this, and they were obviously fun videos, it became clear that it was intended to be used as a fun thing. It was a fun experiment, because in this car you are the limit. The car is not the limit. You cannot put the full throttle. You cannot go as fast as it can, because you are the limit, only you. So it is basically a toy for Asian kids that they are incredible at doing super fast stuff. And so what I was saying is that, yeah, also looking at this, you can make a simulator anything. It changes dramatically the experience, so it becomes kind of a different game. While it's not the case for most other games, because they do, any game or at this point is an open world where you do many things, and so if you mod something, you mod something. You don't change the game. So yeah. I think that modding keeps the community alive, mostly for simulators, and in fact it is true also for other simulators like BeamNG. it is growing for sure. I'm sure. I didn't check, but I'm sure it is growing because I have that from a lot of time. Nobody talked about it almost. No, sorry. I measured. Go to Google Trends first. Then I search BM Energy. And I'm sure it's skyrocketing too because of socials mostly. I don't know why it does that. Yeah, from 2004. Yeah, it is growing. Not as sharply as Assetto Corsa did, but it is growing. From about the same time, but it's growing less rapidly. I don't know if you knew that, just randomly. This is the original BM Energy. It was called Rigs of Roads, and I tested that. I tried that. I think it was free. I don't remember. I forgot about it, and then I, of course, noticed it again when it was BM Energy. Well, whatever. Thank you for watching. This was a long one. Yeah, you will see the news on my Instagram page, and I will try because I think it will pay maybe for being able to send everybody that has done an order the notification of the update because it is an important one. Of course, first we ensure that everything is working fine. So at one point I will send an email to everybody also because some people will get to, actually all of you will get 2 emails because one is of your order, because I noticed that for months I had an issue that made the order email not be sent. And that's a problem because if you lose the accounts, you don't have any chance of proving me that you did purchase unless you find the payment from PayPal back because it can happen in 2 or 3 years, so it could be a problem. So I noticed that issue and it was there since maybe April. So for months it didn't send the order email, and it is fixed now. And for that reason, I will have to send the orders for everybody. It will be a bit of an annoyance. I apologize, but I mean, it's just an email. Hopefully people won't be scared by the fact that they see an order email, but I will try to make it clear. I don't know, like a resend of something. And then another one for the update. Okay, of course, I will update you also on Instagram, etc. And so we will see each other again on Thursday for the final race of ACK League Season 2 in Valencia, where my brother lives. I should go there in real life one day. And so thank you for watching. Subscribe. I mean, it makes sense, no? You see the new stuff that I do, so hit the bell icon. Nessun problema, Samu. No problem. And we will see around. Yeah, hit like, whatever. Goodbye. And have a nice